Around 1:30 on Saturday morning, as the prime tourism island destination was still alive with the ongoing Costa Maya International Festival activities, tragedy hit the town when a massive fire broke in the Boca Del Rio area on the island. What started as a small fire believed to have been deliberately set at the ground floor of a two-story wooden structure would within minutes develop into a full-fledged inferno that spread quickly to consume up to 10 houses and apartment complexes within proximity. 87 persons, including children, have been left without a roof over their heads after the place they called home for years was gutted.
We don't know when it started. We know when we got the call. We got the call from the police approximately 1:36 hours this morning, and immediately responded to the structural fire in Boca Del Rio area, which is this area. On arrival on the scene, according to the personnel that arrived, two structures were engulfed in flames. One was totally engulfed in flames, and the other structure that located east, the western portion of the wall, was engulfed in flames.
Residents say that a fire truck carrying a portable pump and 3 personnel arrived within minutes to the scene of the fire. Contrary to Fire Chief Ted Smith, they say that only the house where the fire started was in the free burning stage when the National Fire Service personnel arrived on scene. The firefighters, however, could not contain the blaze, which wiped out an entire block.
I personally went to the fire department. They were not picking up the calls that I personally were placing. And so we went to look for the fire department. We came on time with the fire department, with the fire personnel. Contrary to what the fire chief is saying, there was only one structure on fire. This structure in front of us. About 5 minutes after they came on scene, the other structure got engulfed in flames, and it took them 32 minutes to figure out how to work their machine in terms of their pump. They could have saved the structure that my sister and my brother-in-law lives in, and the fire could not have been to that magnitude if they knew what they were doing.
The truck that arrived here arrived with 300 gallons of water. It took 30 gallons to fill each hose. There were 3 hoses used. So 1/3 of the water was exhausted just to fill the hoses. They went into operation. There were 3 men on duty responding. 2 went into operation attacking the fire. The third tried to set up the portable pump. After the portable pump was put in place and went into operation, it did have some challenges because the officer in charge at the time used his wisdom and put a civilian to man the portable pump while 3 of them went into operation to out the fire. Somehow, the truck would pull for the portable pump, and the portable pump eventually shut down.
That essentially caused the shutdown of the entire firefighting operation. A bucket brigade by residents kicked into action as the fire continued to spread, trapping residents into the dead-end street. Boaters had to be called in to evacuate over 50 residents from the blistering heat of the flames via the lagoon.
Because this house got out of control, people got trapped on this side of the road. And this is a dead end, and so the fear was that the fire was just going to spread. And so what happened is that the breeze changed, and that was what helped the firefighting. Thankfully, the breeze changed, and it didn't spread that side. But by the time we got things figured out, we had some boats evacuating the children that were first. We evacuated the children on this dead end first, and then we got the adults and so forth after in boats, so from volunteers.
But what could have caused the fire? Residents say that a dispute between a landlady and her tenant may have led to a man setting the place on fire with the woman inside. Police were called out to the scene before statements were recorded to suggest that arson may have been at play. Superintendent Raymond Reyes also says that the police responded to prevent any casualties.
We're recording a statement from the owner of the building where it is alleged that the fire commenced, and based on her statement, then we will be looking for a suspect for questioning.
So it's suspected to be arson?
Based on what the lady is saying, that she has having problems with a tenant, we the police engage in trying to move people from their premises. Some of them were still insisting that they want to run inside their house to try to save some items and so forth. But I believe that as a police officer, life comes first, and that's why some of them had to be restrained from going into the building. One, we have to look at the heat. 2, smoke, right? They might say I'm fire and so forth, but the thickness of the smoke coming in could have suffocated them, drop in the house, and then that would have been a fatality.
But for Amilcar Veras and his 30-plus tenants, it wasn't until an hour and a half later when the 5 apartments, 11 rooms, and his house caught fire that, in their opinion, was adequate time for them to have retrieved their belongings. Veras says that the property was uninsured. His worry, however, is for his tenants who have lost everything.
I have to run upstairs and downstairs, wake up everybody because everybody was sleeping. So, but everybody lose everything. So I have my concern about the people who's living here with me to lose everything. Right. Last night the police don't let the people work because people want help, but they don't let people work. So that's why this house not supposed to get burned last night. But the police make the house burn because they don't let people work, help. Because people want help, but they even, to me, they come from inside my house and push me out.
The fire was contained 2.5 hours later, just after 4 a.m., but by then, nothing could have been saved. Duane, Moody for News 5.